Hey friends, this is Dolynny TV. Glad to have you aboard here this evening as we get set up to talk what has been a busy day in Edmonton Oilers land, just based on a simple situation that's evolving across the NHL, which is now that trade deadline and a little bit free agent intrigue as well. We'll have more on a potential big signing for the Oilers in the offseason, as well as a little bit on a new free agent signing for the Oilers. And, well, guess what? We also got to talk about maybe some trade deadline acquisitions that Daniel Nugent-Bowman mused about a few days ago. I've been musing about one of them for a few months now. And, of course, I just want to touch base on that because I want to look through the lens of one Noah Philp. So, if you're new to the channel, friends, consider hitting that subscribe button here at any time. Would love to have you aboard. It's obviously been a busy week here to start. I think we had, 4 uploads yesterday. Now, any day I get a 4 upload Monday, that's a great time. But, yeah, let's kick butt and let's get on with Tuesday, shall we? What we know today is a big time podcast, the Cam and Strick podcast, put out a little bit of musing about Mikko Rantanen potentially signing with the Edmonton Oilers, kind of discussing that the Oilers might be willing to move money to make it happen, and Mikko Rantanen is definitely interested in coming to Edmonton if the possibility is there. That said, you got to guarantee, and I'm not going to waste too much time on this. This is the lead story, but this is not a big time anything right now. Basically, all I'd say here is there's a connection to Draisaitl. There's kind of an idea that good players want to win as consistently as possible, and if he doesn't get the job done in Carolina, doesn't feel it's possible next year, doesn't sign there, the Oilers are a pretty good dang option to win. Now again, when you're talking about spending money, that goes back to, we had the discussion on the trade deadline update the other day, kind of looking at all the variables around the Edmonton Oilers trade deadline. What I'll tell you again, Evander Kane factors in there. I think you factor in signing Emerson, you factor in signing or keeping whoever you acquire on the right-hand D position. We'll talk about that as well a little bit later on. Just kind of maybe not needing to do that this season anyway. And then as well, kind of who rounds out your roster and how that all shakes out. And obviously the McDavid extension, the Bouchard contract, all that really plays down to what is a unique situation for the Oilers where there might be limitless possibilities as to how they approach their cap space come this summer if you get great news on the cap and you're closer to that 10 million increase than maybe the projected 5 to 8 or whatever is kind of the safe number you want to use to operate in for next season at this current moment here at the end of January. So for the Oilers, what we're looking at right now is a potential big fish wanting or potentially being linked to the Edmonton Oilers, but again, that's literally all it is. Normally you see me blow these things out of proportion. Today, that is not what this is. This is just simply, cool, we've been mentioned. We like being mentioned by big players who want to win and all that. That's awesome. Well, not by the player, but about big players who want to win and who bring good results, right? Mikko Rantanen, former Stanley Cup champion, don't mind me. So keep that in mind as well for the Oilers, is there might be potential to add a big gun come free agency, which we haven't really done offensively, I don't think, since, yeah, you can talk about Victor Arvidsson, you can talk about Jeff Skinner, but we haven't done that since we signed Zach Hyman, realistically, in terms of a guy that produces the results that he does. So we'll stay tuned, see what happens. That's all the breath I'm going to waste on it. It's less than half the video. You are welcome to start your Tuesday evening. Now, what I want to discuss here is a little bit about that Daniel Nugent-Bowman article kind of musing about Jake Evans and Nick Bjugstad as potential targets the other day over on The Athletic. Again, don't worry about it. I'm not going to get too serious into this if you have to pay to play. I don't want you to worry too much about it. So basically what I'll say about a fourth line upgrade is Noah Philp is doing a good job so far, as was projected by Bob Stauffer, as Noah Philp would come in sometime in the new year and get the ride until at least trade deadline time in March. And then, you know what? The Oilers will make a decision on that. And what I will tell you right now, based on what we've seen on Noah Philp, based on kind of his skill set, his size, his ability, is you're almost upgrading based on want instead of need, right? You upgrade on want, not need for the Oilers on that fourth line right-hand shot center, because Noah Philp is doing well. The Oilers are doing well with Noah Philp. They have not missed a beat by, sending Derek Ryan to the Bakersfield Condors. In fact, I think the Oilers are doing just as well, if not better than they were prior to Derek Ryan being in the lineup. Just stabilizing the fourth line a little bit there, and you kind of see some of the guys on that fourth line starting to contribute some points over the duration of Noah Philp being up here at the NHL level. So while Noah's not piling up the points himself, it has been noticeable that Kapanen's been in on some goals. You've seen Corey Perry be on some goals. So, if you're a center that just kind of transitions the play enough or alleviates the stress for your wingers and they start piling up points, that's just as valuable. And I guess maybe the argument could be made there for Derek Ryan as well in the start of the year, not piling up points, and the same idea. But I think the noticeable size difference is enough to give credit to Noah Philp for what he's doing. So again, I'll flash the graphic. It's upgrade on want, right? You want a bigger guy, you want a more physical guy, you want this, you want that, as opposed to need, because the Oilers' needs are pretty well satisfied on that fourth line position with Noah Philp. Maybe you want someone that's a little sharper on the draws, but Noah Philp's not going to get sharper on the draws if he doesn't keep taking them. So keep that in mind here this evening as well. And then the number 3 thing is John Klingberg watch. Last update I got, this could be out to lunch, but again, the target was Thursday or sometime this week. I'm not too concerned, and I'm not even truly giving you an update on when John Klingberg is going to be in the lineup. My update on John Klingberg is, again, kind of goes to a couple of points, maybe even a little bit of a point that I did throw out there on the Heavy Hockey Oilers Live podcast last week. Just talking about, change. And change can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing. And the reason why I'm talking about John Klingberg tonight is if we see him this week, that is when we start to see change within this Oilers roster. Is you put in a traditionally bona fide top 4 guy, and you finally get that asset that you've been looking for in the top 4 all season long. Troy Stecher, he's done well. Brett Kulak, he's done well, kind of playing off with Darnell Nurse there. But we know we need to upgrade there. We know we need an NHL top 4 caliber guy. John Klingberg has been that for the majority of the duration of his career, I guess would be the way to put it. Like, I do these things live, and I'm surprised I don't stumble as much more as I stumble right there. Just gotta laugh at yourself sometimes. But you get where I'm going, right? John Klingberg is a step up from a Troy Stecher and a right-hand shot, playing with Darnell Nurse that can shoot the puck and can allow maybe the reverse. Instead of allowing Nurse to play the puck, it allows Nurse to defend a little bit more. Maybe, that there is something to that playmaking ability that Darnell Nurse needs on the right-hand side. And suddenly you start seeing an elite second pair out there with those two guys, and things settle down here, and you start to see change in the Oilers' defensive structure. And we've talked about it all last year. Cody Ceci, Vinny Desharnais, under Philip Broberg as well, under the guidance of Paul Coffey, were completely different players than maybe we saw in years previous with different defensive coaches like Dave Manson. So definitely looking forward to seeing what we have in John Klingberg, and that's where suddenly this trek to the trade deadline really starts to heat up, because as we want to talk, if you want to look narrow focus, just immediate future, what does it hold for Noah Philp and John Klingberg? More medium term, what does it hold past the Four Nations face-off for the trade deadline for the Oilers? And longer term, what does it hold for the playoffs? What does it mean in free agency? And that's where we kind of worked ourselves backwards from long term, medium term, short term to now go the other way into free agency. What does it mean for Mikko Rantanen at the end of the day if the Oilers are truly involved in those talks when it comes to mid-June, late June, and potentially as well free agency? So definitely an interesting day, and it's going to be a very interesting week. I know it's already Tuesday. Hey, we won last night. That's why it's already Tuesday. We got to play La Bamba on the home speakers, and we're going to have ourselves a good time, a good day off tonight, a good day off tomorrow. And then Thursday night, those Detroit Red Wings are going to swing by, and we're going to see what we're truly made of against a team who's been on the rise, just as most teams usually are on the rise when Todd McLellan shows up to start coaching. Not sure how long it's going to last, but usually a little coach bump there when McLellan gets behind the bench. Oilers fans know that, right? He was here for a year and a bit and took us to the playoffs after. So we'll see what happens. But friends, thanks for being aboard here this evening, this afternoon, if it's for you out there still on the West Coast or maybe in Hawaii. But yeah, definitely have a great evening, and we will talk to you in a little bit. I'm up on out of here.